The music was too loud, but I didn't care. I had something to say, and I finally had the courage to say it. I'm serious, I said, leaning closer so Chloe could hear me over the speakers. I'm building an app, a real company. I already started coding it. Chloe raised an eyebrow. You? A company? Why does that sound so crazy? It's not crazy, Madison said, smirking. It's just you. I felt my chest tighten, but I kept going. I wanted them to understand. I wanted somebody to believe in me. It's a scheduling app for small businesses. Nothing fancy yet, but if I get it right, it could actually help people. I've been working on it every night after class. Brianna crossed her arms. Every night? Instead of, I don't know, having a life. This is my life, I said. This is what I want to do. Chloe laughed first. Not a small laugh, a real one, loud enough that a few heads turned near the drinks table. Oh my God, Ethan, she said, wiping under her eye like I told a joke. You can barely fix your own phone. Remember when you cracked your screen and asked Marcus to fix it for you? That's different. Is it? Madison cut in, grinning. You want people to trust you with their businesses, and you can't even trust yourself with a screen protector. They both laughed harder now, and I felt my face get hot. I looked at Brianna, hoping she'd stay quiet, but she just shrugged like she agreed and didn't want to say it out loud. Guys, come on, I said. I'm not asking you to invest. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. No, it's cute, Chloe said, still smiling. It's really cute that you have dreams. Cute landed like a slap. Then Chloe turned around, cupped her hands, and yelled toward the living room. Hey, everyone, Ethan's starting a tech company. A few people laughed. Someone shouted, good luck with that. And everyone laughed harder. My stomach dropped straight to the floor. I wanted to disappear into the carpet. Chloe, stop, I said, but my voice came out smaller than I wanted it to. I'm not being mean, she said, still grinning. I'm just saying be realistic. You work at a gas station, Ethan. You're not exactly Silicon Valley material. I'm not working there forever. Sure, Madison said, laughing again. None of us are working anywhere forever. That's called life. I have a plan, I said. I have numbers. I have a working prototype right now on my laptop. A prototype, Chloe repeated, like the word itself was funny. Okay, tech guy. Brianna finally spoke. You should probably have a backup plan. That's all we're saying. That we hurt more than anything, Chloe said, because it meant Brianna agreed with all of it, even if she said it softer. I didn't say anything else. I just nodded, grabbed my jacket off the couch, and walked toward the door. Behind me, I could still hear them laughing, already moving on to some other topic like I hadn't just handed them a piece of my future and watched them throw it on the floor. Marcus caught up to me outside. Hey, Ethan, wait up. I'm fine, I said, even though my throat felt tight. You're not fine. I saw your face in there. They don't get it, Marcus, and they're never going to get it. So don't tell them anything else, he said. Tell me. I believe you. I've seen what you've built already. It's good. They didn't even ask a single real question, I said. Not one. They just wanted something to laugh at. Then let them laugh, Marcus said. Just don't let it stop you. I didn't answer. The rain had started, cold and thin, soaking through my jacket within seconds. Marcus offered to drive me home, but I told him I needed to walk. I needed the cold. I needed the quiet. With every step, Chloe's laugh played back in my head, louder than the rain hitting the pavement. Asterisk, be realistic. You're not exactly Silicon Valley material. Asterisk. By the time I reached my street, soaked and shivering, something inside me had changed. It wasn't sadness anymore. It was something harder, something colder. I stopped under the streetlight outside my house and made myself a promise. Asterisk, one day, they're going to remember this night, and they're going to wish they hadn't laughed. Asterisk. The tech support job paid barely above minimum wage, but it was something. I sat in a gray cubicle 8 hours a day, telling strangers to restart their routers, And every night I came home and opened my laptop to work on the only thing that mattered. My mom didn't get it. "Ethan, you have a degree," she said one night, watching me eat dinner in front of my laptop instead of at the table. "Why are you answering phones for people who scream at you all day?" "Because it pays the bills while I build the app, Mom. You could get a real job. Something stable. This is going to be stable. Once it's finished. And what if it never finishes? What if you spend 2 years on this and end up with nothing? Then at least I'll know I tried instead of always wondering." She sighed. The kind of sigh that meant she loved me but thought I was making a mistake. "I just don't want you wasting years chasing something that doesn't work out. It's going to work out. You don't know that." "No," I said. "But I know it won't work out if I don't try." She didn't argue after that. She just squeezed my shoulder and went to bed, leaving me alone with my code and my doubts. My sister Emma was different. She'd sit on the floor of my room while I worked, scrolling through her phone, occasionally glancing at my screen. "That's actually kind of cool," she said one night, pointing at the scheduling interface I'd built. "You think so?" "Yeah. It looks like something people would actually use." "Mom thinks I'm wasting my life." "Mom thinks everything that isn't a 9 to 5 is wasting your life," Emma said. "Don't listen to her. Don't listen to anybody who laughed at you either." I looked up from the screen. "How do you know about that?" "Marcus told me. Chloe posted about it too. Something like, 'When your friend thinks he's the next tech genius.'" My stomach twisted. Great. So everyone knows. Who cares if everyone knows? Prove them wrong instead of talking about it. That's easier said than done. "Everything worth doing is easier said than done," Emma said. "That's kind of the whole point." That stuck with me more than anything my mom said. Weeks passed. I kept failing. My code crashed constantly. I didn't understand half the errors showing up on my screen, and there was nobody to ask. Some nights I'd fix one bug only to create 3 new ones. I almost gave up more than once, staring at broken code at 2 in the morning, wondering if Chloe had been right about me all along. Maybe I really was just a guy who couldn't fix his own cracked phone screen, pretending he could build something people would actually pay for. Then I met Grant. He came into the store where I worked part-time on weekends, trying to fix an old laptop that barely turned on anymore. While I worked on it, he noticed my code open in another tab. "What's that?" he asked, nodding at the screen. "Just something I'm building. A scheduling app. Mind if I look?" I hesitated, embarrassed by the mess of code, but I turned the screen toward him anyway. He studied it for a long moment, adjusting his glasses. "This structure is a mess," he said bluntly, "but the idea underneath it is smart. Real smart." "You think so?" "I spent 30 years as a software engineer before I retired," he said. "I know potential when I see it. And I know bad habits when I see those too. So it's actually good? It's rough. Unorganized. You're repeating logic in 3 different places instead of once. But underneath all that mess, you're solving a real problem people actually have. That's rarer than you think. Can you help me fix it?" He looked at me for a long moment, like he was deciding something important. "You willing to work? Really work? Not just talk about it?" "Yes. Absolutely yes." "Then come by my place Saturday. Bring your laptop and your patience. I don't teach people who give up after one hard lesson." "I won't give up." He smirked slightly. "We'll see." That night, I went home and told Emma everything. She grinned so wide I thought her face might break. "See?" she said. "The universe already knows you're not done yet." I didn't feel like the universe knew anything. I just felt exhausted and hopeful and terrified all at once. But for the first time in months, that hope felt like it might actually be real. And for the first time, I wasn't the only one who believed it. A year of work. A year of late nights with Grant, fixing code, rewriting logic, learning things I should have known years ago. And finally, we had something real, a working prototype. Marcus tested it for the 10th time that week, tapping through the screens on his phone. "It doesn't crash anymore," he said, grinning. "Ethan, it actually works. Don't jinx it. I'm serious. This is good. This is really good." Grant looked over Marcus's shoulder at the screen, arms crossed. It's ready enough to show someone. Not perfect, but ready. Show who? I asked. I know a guy. Small investor, does early-stage funding for local startups. He owes me a favor from years ago. I can get you a meeting. My heart started pounding. A real meeting? With an actual investor. Real as it gets, Grant said. Don't waste it. The meeting happened 2 weeks later in a small office that smelled like old coffee. The investor, a tired-looking man named Harold, watched our demo without saying much. Marcus and I traded glances the entire time, trying to read his face and failing completely. When it ended, Harold leaned back in his chair. It's clean. Functional. I'll give you that. But, I asked, already sensing it. But there's nothing here that separates you from 5 other apps doing the same thing. Scheduling tools are everywhere. Why would a business choose yours over something already established? My stomach dropped. We built in more customization than most competitors. Customization isn't a reason. It's a feature. I need a reason. He tapped the table twice. What problem does this solve that nothing else solves? If you can't answer that in one sentence, neither can your customers. I opened my mouth, then closed it. I didn't have an answer. I'm sorry. I can't invest in something that doesn't have a clear identity yet, he said. Marcus tried to argue a few more points, but Harold had already made up his mind. We left the office in silence, the rejection sitting heavy between us. That's it, Marcus said once we were outside. A year of work, and that's it? He said no, I said. He didn't say it's bad. Feels the same to me right now. It's not, though. He gave us the one thing we actually needed, a reason we failed. That's more useful than a yes would have been. Marcus shook his head, still frustrated. I don't know how you're this calm right now. I'm not calm. I'm just tired of being angry about things I can't control. I didn't answer. Harold's words kept replaying in my head. Nothing here separates you. He wasn't wrong. We built something that worked, but we never asked ourselves why anyone should choose it over everything else already out there. That night, I sat on my bedroom floor with my laptop, staring at the code that had taken a year to build. Grant called to check in. How'd it go? He asked. He said no. Said we don't have an identity. Ouch. But he's not wrong, is he? No, I admitted. He's not. So what are you going to do about it? I stared at the screen for a long moment before answering. I'm going to rebuild it. From scratch. From scratch? You just spent a year on this version. I know. But if it doesn't have a real reason to exist, then it doesn't matter how clean the code is. I need to build something people actually need, not just something that works. Grant was quiet for a second. That's the first time you've sounded like a founder instead of a kid chasing a dream. His words hit harder than Harold's rejection had. I'm not doing this to prove Chloe wrong anymore, I said, mostly to myself. I'm doing this because I actually believe in it now. Good, Grant said. That's the only reason that'll get you through what's coming. Trust me, it gets harder before it gets easier. I hung up the phone and opened a blank document. No more borrowed confidence. No more building just to prove a point to people who'd already forgotten about that party. This time, I was building for something real. I stayed up until sunrise, sketching out an entirely new plan, and for once, the exhaustion felt like it meant something instead of just wearing me down. 5 years. It's strange how much can change in 5 years, and how the same town can feel completely different when you walk into it as someone new. I parked my car outside the old community hall, the one where my cousin's wedding reception was happening, and sat there for a second before getting out. It wasn't the same beat-up sedan I used to drive to my tech support job. It wasn't the same jacket I wore to that party either. Everything about me had changed, piece by piece, year by year, until one day I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the guy who used to walk home crying in the rain. I straightened my tie, grabbed my keys, and walked toward the entrance, half expecting nobody to recognize me at all. Ethan? I turned toward the voice and saw Brianna standing near the entrance, holding a small gift bag, staring at me like she'd seen a ghost. Brianna. Hey. Oh my God. Is that? Is that really you? Last time I checked. She looked me up and down, taking in the suit, the car keys in my hand, all of it. You look completely different. It's been 5 years. I know, but... She stopped herself, laughing nervously. Sorry, I just wasn't expecting this. Expecting what? I don't know. This. She gestured vaguely at me, like the word, this explained everything. I heard you started a company, but I didn't realize it actually worked out. It worked out. That's amazing, Ethan. Really. Her smile faltered slightly. I feel like I should apologize for that party. That was a long time ago, but I still think about it sometimes. I hadn't expected that. Not this fast. Not standing in a parking lot before the reception had even started. You don't have to bring that up. I kind of do, she said. I laughed because everyone else was laughing. That's not an excuse, I know. I didn't think you were being unrealistic. I think I was scared of wanting something that big for myself and not having it. That surprised me more than anything Chloe or Madison had said that night 5 years ago. I appreciate you saying that, I said carefully. I mean it. What are you even building now? Marcus mentioned scheduling software, but that sounds so small compared to whatever this is. She nodded toward my car. It grew. A lot. We do workflow automation for small businesses now. Couple hundred clients across 3 states. Her eyes widened. Ethan, that's incredible. I remember when you could barely get that first version to stop crashing. A lot changed after that meeting with Harold. Turns out getting rejected was the best thing that happened to us. Funny how that works. Yeah, I know. I wasn't trying to sound arrogant. I was just tired of shrinking myself the way I used to at parties like this one. Is Marcus here tonight? She asked. He's parking. He drove separately. And Grant? The guy who mentored you. He's semi-retired again. Consults for us sometimes. Comes to every launch party we throw. Wow. You really built a whole world for yourself. I had to, I said. Nobody was going to hand it to me. She flinched slightly at that, and I realized how sharp it sounded even though I hadn't meant it as an attack. Not entirely, anyway. I deserve that, she said quietly. I didn't say it to hurt you. I know. But it's true, so it still landed. We stood there for a second in silence, the noise of the reception drifting out through the open doors behind her. You should go in, she finally said. Chloe and Madison are already inside. They don't know you're coming. Something in her voice told me this reunion was only just beginning. Good, I said. Let's go find out. I walked past her toward the doors, feeling her eyes on my back the whole way, and for the first time in 5 years, I wasn't the one who felt small. The reception hall was louder than I remembered any room in this town being. I spotted Chloe near the bar before she spotted me, laughing at something a man beside her said, her hand resting on his arm. Then she turned, and her laugh stopped mid-breath. Ethan? Hey, Chloe. She blinked like she was recalculating something in her head. Wow. You look... Wow. Thanks. I heard you had some kind of company now, but nobody said... She stopped, gesturing vaguely at me the same way Brianna had. This is a whole different level. It's been 5 years. Clearly. She smiled, and it was a different smile than the one I remembered from that party. Softer. Interested. This is Derek. My fiancé. Derek shook my hand a little too firmly. Chloe mentioned you two used to be friends. Something like that, I said. He's being modest, Chloe cut in. Ethan built a tech company from nothing. Like actual investors, actual clients, the whole thing. That's impressive, Derek said, though his eyes flicked toward Chloe like he was reading something on her face he didn't love. What's the company called? Northline. We do automation software for small businesses. Huh. Derek nodded slowly. You hiring? Not right now. Just curious. Always good to know people in growing companies. He laughed, but it didn't quite land as a joke. Chloe touched my arm lightly. You have to tell me everything. Where are you even living now? City. About 2 hours from here. That's not far at all. She said it too quickly, too hopefully, and I noticed Derek's jaw tighten slightly beside her. "Chloe, we should say hi to your cousin," Derek said, his voice a little sharper now. "In a minute," she said, not looking at him. "I haven't seen Ethan in 5 years, Derek." The tension between them sat there in the air, obvious enough that even I felt uncomfortable standing in the middle of it. Derek forced a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "So how big is Northline exactly?" he asked. "Employees, revenue, that kind of thing." "Big enough to keep me busy." Sure. I ask because I do some financial consulting myself. Always interested in growing companies. He said it casually, but there was something underneath it, something a little too eager. "I'll keep that in mind," I said, though I had no intention of following up. "I should probably go find Marcus," I said, giving them an easy way out. "Wait," Chloe said. "We should catch up properly. Get coffee sometime, maybe?" I didn't answer right away. 5 years ago, I would have said yes immediately, desperate for any scrap of her attention. Now I just felt something closer to amusement. "Maybe," I said, and left it at that. Before I could walk away, Madison appeared beside me, her drink nearly spilling from how fast she moved. "Ethan, oh my gosh. I saw you from across the room and I couldn't believe it." "Hey, Madison. You look amazing. Seriously." She glanced toward Chloe and Derek, then lowered her voice. "Listen, I've actually felt bad about that party for a long time. I know that probably sounds fake right now, especially seeing you like this, but I mean it. It's fine, Madison. It's not, though. We were awful to you. I think about it sometimes, honestly. How mean we were about something you actually cared about." I studied her for a second. Unlike Brianna, there was something performative about the way she said it, like she was testing how the apology would land now that I had money and a nice car. "I appreciate you saying it," I said carefully. "So we're good." "We're fine, Madison." She smiled, relieved, and glanced toward Chloe again. "She's been weird about Derek lately. Don't mention I said that." "Noted. Anyway, we should catch up properly sometime. Maybe you could help me with a project I've been working on? Nothing big, just some advice." There it was, the real reason behind the sudden warmth. "We'll see," I said. I walked away toward the bar, my head spinning slightly from how different this felt from 5 years ago. Back then, I would have given anything for 5 minutes of their attention. Now they were chasing mine, and it didn't feel like the victory I always imagined it would. Felt strange, unfamiliar, and a little bit hollow. I glanced back once and caught Derek watching me over Chloe's shoulder, his expression unreadable. Something about tonight felt like it was only the beginning of a much bigger mess. Nathan Cole found me near the dessert table, drink in hand, looking like a man who wanted to talk business at a wedding. "You're Ethan, right?" "Brianna's brother, Nathan." He shook my hand. "I've heard a lot about Northline. I do some private investing. Small stuff, mostly local businesses." "Nice to meet you. I actually wanted to talk to you about that if you're open to it. But first," he glanced across the room toward Chloe and Derek. "Can I ask you something off the record?" "Sure. How well do you know that guy?" "Derek?" "Barely. Met him tonight." Nathan lowered his voice. "I do some work with local lenders. Derek's name came up a few months ago. Not in a good way." "What do you mean?" "Multiple loans, all denied except one, and that one had to go through with Chloe's name attached instead of his. Bad credit, mounting debt. The kind of thing that usually means someone's living way past what they can afford." I glanced over at Chloe, laughing at something near the bar, completely unaware. "Does she know?" "No idea. Not my business to say anything. But I figured you should know, since he was awfully interested in your company tonight. He asked if we were hiring." "That tracks," Nathan said. "Guys like that look for opportunities wherever they can find them. Desperation makes people friendly fast." He took a sip of his drink. "Anyway, that's not why I came over. I actually wanted to talk numbers with you, if you've got 5 minutes later. Heard Northline's expanding into 2 new states next quarter. Word travels fast. Small town, smaller investment circle. Everybody knows everybody's business eventually." He smiled. "That's actually why I'm telling you about Derek. Figured you'd rather hear it from me than find out the hard way. I appreciate that. Find me before the night's over. He nodded and walked off, leaving me standing there with information I didn't ask for and didn't know what to do with. A few minutes later, Brianna found me near the same spot, her face tense. You look like you just heard something heavy, she said. Your brother has a talent for dropping bombs in casual conversation. That sounds like Nathan. She hesitated. Was it about Derek? You know, I don't know details. I just know Chloe's been stressed lately, more than usual. She hasn't said why. I didn't repeat what Nathan told me. It wasn't mine to spread around a wedding reception. Can I tell you something? Brianna asked, quieter now. Go ahead. I've thought about that party more than you probably realize. Not just the laughing. The way I felt afterward, watching you walk out into the rain. I told myself you'd be fine, that it wasn't that big of a deal, but it never sat right with me. Brianna, you don't have to. I do though, because honestly, my life hasn't gone the way I thought it would either. I'm still doing the same job I had in college. Still living in the same apartment. Watching you tonight, seeing everything you built, it made me realize how much time I've spent playing it safe and calling it smart. I didn't say anything right away. There was nothing performative in her voice, nothing angling for anything. Just honesty, plain and uncomfortable. You still have time to change things, I said finally. Do I? You're what, 27? I didn't start really building anything until 23. It's not too late unless you decide it is. She smiled, small but real. That's easy for you to say now. Maybe, but it was true before all this too. I just didn't believe it yet. She looked at me for a long moment. I'm glad you didn't let us talk you out of it. Me too. Across the room, Chloe's laugh rang out again. A little too loud, a little too bright, like she was working hard to convince everyone, maybe even herself, that everything was fine. I had a feeling it wasn't. And for the first time all night, I didn't feel satisfaction watching her struggle beneath the surface. I just felt something closer to pity. The text started 3 days after the wedding. Asterisk Chloe. Hey, I know this is random, but I can't stop thinking about our conversation. Coffee this week? Asterisk. I stared at the message longer than I should have. Part of me, the part that still remembered standing in that rain 5 years ago, wanted to say yes just to see how far she'd take it. I typed back. Asterisk busy this week. Maybe another time. Asterisk. Asterisk Chloe. No worries. Whenever works. I just feel like there's so much we didn't get to talk about. Asterisk. Madison texted the next day. Asterisk Madison. Hey, so I know I mentioned that project I'm working on. Would you maybe have time to look it over? No pressure at all, just thought your perspective could really help. Asterisk. I showed the messages to Sophie, a coworker at Northline who'd started a few months back and had zero patience for nonsense. These are the girls from the wedding? She asked, scrolling through my phone. Yeah. The ones who mocked your business idea in high school? After high school. But yeah. Sophie handed my phone back, unimpressed. And now they want coffee and free business advice. Basically, that's not subtle at all. I know. So what are you going to do? I hesitated. I don't know. Part of me wants to see where it goes. Sophie raised an eyebrow. Why? So you can enjoy them chasing you for once. Maybe. Careful with that, Ethan. Enjoying it and needing it start to look the same after a while. So what are you going to do? I hesitated. I don't know. Part of me wants to see where it goes. That's not a real reason, Ethan. That's revenge with better lighting. Her words landed harder than I expected. It's not revenge, I said, though even I wasn't fully convinced. Isn't it? You spent years building something to prove them wrong, and now they're finally paying attention, and you're eating it up. I get it. I do. But that's not the same as actually wanting them in your life. I don't want them in my life. I stopped trying to find the right words. I guess I wanted to know what it would feel like to have them want my attention for once. And how does it feel? I thought about it honestly. Kind of empty, actually. There it is. Sophie said, like she'd been waiting for me to admit it. Brianna texted too, but it was different from the others. Brianna, no pressure or anything, but if you ever want to actually catch up, not because of the company, just as people, I'd like that. I showed that one to Sophie as well. This one's different, she said immediately. Yeah, I noticed. She's the only one asking for you, not what you have. I know. So text her back. I did later that night, and we made plans for coffee that weekend. No business talk, no hidden agenda. Just two people who used to know each other trying to figure out who they were now. Meanwhile, Chloe texted twice more, each one a little more direct than the last. Chloe. Honestly, Derek and I have been having problems. I don't know why I'm telling you that. Maybe I just feel like you'd actually understand me. I stared at that message for a long time, feeling something twist uncomfortably in my chest. Not attraction. Something closer to disgust, mixed with a strange, quiet satisfaction I didn't fully like about myself. She's using you as a backup plan, Sophie said when I showed her. In case Derek's financial mess blows up in her face. I know. And Madison wants free consulting. I know that too. So why haven't you blocked either of them yet? I didn't have a good answer. Part of me still wanted the validation even now, even with everything I'd built. It was pathetic in a way I didn't want to admit out loud. Because some small part of me still wants them to see what they missed out on, I finally said. Sophie studied me for a moment, not unkindly. That's understandable. But that part of you is still the same guy standing in the rain, just wearing a nicer jacket now. That hit harder than anything Chloe or Madison had said all week. I don't want to be that guy anymore, I said quietly. Then stop feeding him, Sophie said. You already won, Ethan. You don't need their attention to prove it. You just have to actually believe that. I looked back down at my phone, at Chloe's unanswered message still sitting there, and for the first time, I understood exactly what I needed to do next. Not revenge. Not silence either. Just honesty, the one thing none of them had given me when it actually mattered. The Northline Investor Mixer was the last place I expected to see Chloe. I was mid-conversation with two potential partners when I heard her voice cut through the crowd behind me. Ethan. I turned, and the look on her face told me something was wrong before she even reached me. Her makeup was slightly smudged, her smile too wide, too forced. Chloe, what are you doing here? I saw the event posted online. I thought, why not? I wanted to see you. She glanced at the investors beside me, then back at me. Can we talk? Just for a minute. This isn't really the place. Please, Ethan. Her voice cracked slightly, loud enough that a few heads nearby turned. I've been trying to reach you for weeks. You keep brushing me off. I've been busy, Chloe. This is a business event. It's always business with you now. That's fine, I get it. But I drove 2 hours to talk to you tonight, and you can't even give me 5 minutes. Chloe, not here. Why not here? Her voice rose further, and I felt the whole room's attention shifting toward us. Everyone already knows everything anyway. Derek and I broke up. I have nothing left. I just want a real chance with you, Ethan. Is that so hard to understand? The investors beside me exchanged an uncomfortable glance. One of them, an older woman named Patricia, raised her eyebrows slightly, clearly reevaluating the scene in front of her. Chloe, you're making a scene. Maybe I need to make a scene. Maybe that's the only way you'll actually listen to me. My chest tightened. Every eye in that section of the room was on us now, waiting to see what I'd do next. And in that moment, I realized something. I could end this right here. One sentence, spoken loud enough for this whole room to hear, and Chloe's humiliation would be permanent. Worse than mine had ever been. I had the room's attention, the credibility, the power. All I had to do was open my mouth. You laughed at me, I said quietly, just for her. You stood in front of everyone and made me a joke because I wanted something bigger for my life. I know. I'm sorry. I was young and stupid. And now you want a chance because I have money and you don't have Derek anymore. Her face went pale. That's not fair. Isn't it? I felt the words building in my throat, the ones that could destroy her completely right there in front of everyone who mattered to my career. I could tell this entire room exactly who she really was, exactly what she'd done to me, and watch her crumble the way I once had. It would take one sentence, maybe two, and every person watching us right now would remember it for years, the same way people still brought up that party sometimes when they saw me. Then Emma's voice came back to me, from years ago, sitting on my bedroom floor. Asterisk, prove them wrong instead of talking about it. Don't listen to anybody who laughed at you either. Asterisk. She never said anything about destroying them. She said prove them wrong. Those weren't the same thing. I took a breath and softened my voice, quiet enough that only Chloe could hear. I'm not doing this here, I said. Not because you don't deserve honesty. Because I'm not going to become the person who laughed at someone's pain just because I finally have the power to. So that's it? You're just going to walk away? I already did that 5 years ago, remember? I'm just choosing not to repeat what you did to me. Her eyes filled with tears, but I didn't feel the satisfaction I expected. I felt something closer to exhaustion. You should go home, Chloe. Figure out what you actually want, separate from all this. I turned back to Patricia and the other investor, my hands slightly shaking. I apologize for that. Personal matter. Patricia studied me for a long moment. Actually, the way you handled that says more about you than any pitch deck could. I didn't respond right away. I just watched Chloe walk toward the exit, alone, smaller somehow than she'd ever looked 5 years ago at that party. I had the power to destroy her tonight, and for the first time in 5 years, that power felt like something I was choosing not to use, not something I was too weak to use. That felt like the real victory. The Northline Investor Mixer was the last place I expected to see Chloe. I was mid-conversation with 2 potential partners when I heard her voice cut through the crowd behind me. Ethan. I turned, and the look on her face told me something was wrong before she even reached me. Her makeup was slightly smudged, her smile too wide, too forced. Chloe. What are you doing here? I saw the event posted online. I thought, why not? I wanted to see you. She glanced at the investors beside me, then back at me. Can we talk? Just for a minute. This isn't really the place. Please, Ethan. Her voice cracked slightly, loud enough that a few heads nearby turned. I've been trying to reach you for weeks. You keep brushing me off. I've been busy, Chloe. This is a business event. It's always business with you now. That's fine, I get it. But I drove 2 hours to talk to you tonight, and you can't even give me 5 minutes. Chloe, not here. Why not here? Her voice rose further, and I felt the whole room's attention shifting toward us. Everyone already knows everything anyway. Derek and I broke up. I have nothing left. I just want a real chance with you, Ethan. Is that so hard to understand? The investors beside me exchanged an uncomfortable glance. One of them, an older woman named Patricia, raised her eyebrows slightly, clearly reevaluating the scene in front of her. Chloe, you're making a scene. Maybe I need to make a scene. Maybe that's the only way you'll actually listen to me. My chest tightened. Every eye in that section of the room was on us now, waiting to see what I'd do next. And in that moment, I realized something. I could end this right here. One sentence, spoken loud enough for this whole room to hear, and Chloe's humiliation would be permanent. Worse than mine had ever been. I had the room's attention, the credibility, the power. All I had to do was open my mouth. You laughed at me, I said quietly, just for her. You stood in front of everyone and made me a joke because I wanted something bigger for my life. I know. I'm sorry. I was young and stupid. And now you want a chance because I have money and you don't have Derek anymore. Her face went pale. That's not fair. Isn't it? I felt the words building in my throat, the ones that could destroy her completely right there in front of everyone who mattered to my career. I could tell this entire room exactly who she really was, exactly what she'd done to me, and watch her crumble the way I once had. It would take one sentence, maybe 2. And every person watching us right now would remember it for years, the same way people still brought up that party sometimes when they saw me. Then Emma's voice came back to me, from years ago, sitting on my bedroom floor. Asterisk, prove them wrong instead of talking about it. Don't listen to anybody who laughed at you either. Asterisk. She never said anything about destroying them. She said prove them wrong. Those weren't the same thing. I took a breath and softened my voice, quiet enough that only Chloe could hear. I'm not doing this here, I said. Not because you don't deserve honesty. Because I'm not going to become the person who laughed at someone's pain just because I finally have the power to. So that's it? You're just going to walk away. I already did that 5 years ago, remember? I'm just choosing not to repeat what you did to me. Her eyes filled with tears, but I didn't feel the satisfaction I expected. I felt something closer to exhaustion. You should go home, Chloe. Figure out what you actually want, separate from all this. I turned back to Patricia and the other investor, my hands slightly shaking. I apologize for that. Personal matter. Patricia studied me for a long moment. Actually, the way you handled that says more about you than any pitch deck could. I didn't respond right away. I just watched Chloe walk toward the exit, alone, smaller somehow than she'd ever looked 5 years ago at that party. I had the power to destroy her tonight, and for the first time in 5 years, that power felt like something I was choosing not to use, not something I was too weak to use. That felt like the real victory.